Gardaí in Ballymun continue to keep an open mind in relation to who was responsible for the brutal murder of mother of two, Lisa Thompson. The 52-year-old's body was found a week ago today at 3:30 in the afternoon at her home in Sandy Hill Gardens, where she lived alone. She sustained multiple stab wounds, and officers believe she was dead for some time before her remains were discovered after a neighbour who was concerned alerted emergency services.
Lisa Thompson was born into a small, close-knit family. Growing up in a quiet neighborhood, she quickly became known for her infectious smile and caring nature. Lisa was always there for others, whether it was a friendly chat over coffee or offering a helping hand when someone was in need. However, beneath her bright exterior, Lisa faced her own set of challenges. Her parents, though loving, struggled with personal issues that sometimes made them unavailable to her. From a young age, Lisa took on the responsibility of looking out for her younger siblings. This early maturity shaped her into a determined and strong-willed woman, traits that she carried into adulthood. As Lisa grew older, she began to face the complexities of relationships. Her first serious relationship ended painfully, and over the years, she would experience the ups and downs of love, loss, and rebuilding her life. Despite these struggles, Lisa remained focused on her children, her greatest source of joy and purpose. She was a mother of two, and her love for them was immeasurable. Her children were the reason she pushed through the difficulties, hoping to provide them with a stable and loving home. But, like many people, Lisa's life was far from perfect. She had been involved in a volatile relationship with a man named Brian, which would eventually lead to her tragic death. Lisa met Brian several years before her death. From the outside, their relationship seemed like many others, complicated, yes, but manageable. However, as time passed, it became clear that there were cracks in their relationship. Brian had a history of aggressive behavior, and Lisa, though always fiercely independent, found herself drawn into a cycle of tension and conflict. Despite her family's concerns, Lisa seemed to be in denial about the toxic nature of their relationship. They would often break up, only to reconcile soon after. Family and friends witnessed the instability in the relationship, but Lisa remained hopeful that things could improve. In the months leading up to her death, Lisa began to withdraw from those closest to her. Her social media posts became more cryptic, and she became increasingly isolated. Those who tried to reach out to her were met with either silence or vague responses. Behind closed doors, the relationship between Lisa and Brian became even more strained. Lisa's family noticed that she was increasingly unhappy, but they had no idea just how dangerous things had become. The night of Lisa's death began like many others. She and Brian were at her home, and the two had been spending time together. The specifics of the evening's events remain unclear, but it is known that a violent confrontation took place between the two. Neighbors later reported hearing raised voices, but no one could have predicted what would unfold next. In the quiet of her own home, Lisa Thompson was murdered. The details of Lisa's death were horrific. She had been beaten and assaulted in her own house, a place that was supposed to be her sanctuary. Brian, in a fit of rage, took her life, leaving her children without their mother and her family devastated. The violence was brutal, and the crime scene was a stark contrast to the gentle woman that Lisa had been. It wasn't until the following morning that Lisa's family began to worry when they couldn't reach her. Her children were supposed to have been with their father that weekend, but Lisa's absence was alarming. The family began calling her phone, and when there was no answer, they went to her home. Upon arrival, the door was found slightly ajar, and Lisa's family entered the house, only to be met with the shocking reality of her murder. Lisa's body was found in the living room, the violence of her death still apparent in the aftermath. Her family immediately called the police, who responded quickly to secure the scene. Authorities launched an immediate investigation, but the circumstances surrounding Lisa's death left them with few clues. At first, it was believed that Lisa might have had a break-in or an intruder, But the investigation soon revealed a different story. Brian was quickly brought in for questioning. Initially, he denied any involvement in her death, but as the investigation progressed, inconsistencies in his story began to emerge. The police discovered that Brian had a criminal history and that his behavior on the night of Lisa's death was inconsistent with his claims. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that Lisa's murder had not been a random act of violence. Brian's background, combined with his sudden disappearance after the incident, raised further suspicions. He was arrested and charged with Lisa Thompson's murder. The investigation revealed that Lisa had suffered extensive injuries. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, and it was believed that the attack had occurred in a violent rage. Lisa's family was heartbroken, learning more about the brutality of the act that ended her life. Witnesses came forward, confirming that Lisa had been involved in a turbulent relationship with Brian. Some neighbors recalled hearing shouting and arguing the night before her death. Additionally, forensics revealed that the crime had been committed in a highly violent and personal manner. This was no random act. As Brian was questioned further, he changed his story multiple times. He initially claimed that he had been with Lisa that night, but left after an argument, denying any responsibility for her death. But as the evidence mounted against him, his story began to unravel. Months later, the trial of Brian for the murder of Lisa Thompson began. The prosecution laid out a compelling case against him, presenting evidence of his violent tendencies and the details of the brutal murder. The courtroom was filled with tension as Lisa's family and the public watched the proceedings unfold. Lisa's mother, siblings, and children sat through the trial, enduring the painful process of reliving the details of her death. The prosecution argued that Brian had murdered Lisa in a fit of rage, knowing full well the consequences of his actions. They presented forensic evidence that pointed to the fact that the attack had been deliberate and carried out with extreme violence. Brian's defense tried to paint a different picture, claiming that Lisa had been a willing participant in the confrontation. They suggested that there had been a struggle, but their argument lacked the weight of the evidence. As the trial progressed, Lisa's family made victim impact statements, speaking out about the profound loss they had experienced. Her children spoke about how their lives had been forever changed and how they missed their mother terribly. After a long and emotionally draining trial, the jury deliberated and returned a verdict: guilty of murder. Brian was convicted of Lisa Thompson's murder and sentenced to life in prison. For Lisa's family, the conviction provided some sense of justice, but it did little to ease the overwhelming grief they felt. Lisa's children would grow up without their mother, and her family would never again be the same. The sentencing was a bittersweet moment, as the reality of Lisa's death continued to weigh heavily on everyone involved. Lisa's family took solace in the fact that Brian would never be able to harm anyone else again, but it was clear that no verdict could undo the damage done by her tragic murder. In the wake of Lisa's death, the community was rocked by the violence that had taken place in their midst. Neighbors, friends, and acquaintances who had known Lisa all spoke about the person she had been: loving, kind, and devoted to her family. Lisa's death became a stark reminder of the dangers that many people face behind closed doors in abusive relationships. The crime shook the community, and her family vowed to honor her memory by speaking out against domestic violence. Lisa's story was shared in various forums, raising awareness about the signs of abusive relationships and the importance of support systems for those who are struggling. While Lisa's life was cut tragically short, her death sparked important conversations about the hidden dangers of domestic abuse. Though Lisa's life was taken too soon, her legacy lives on through her children and the love she gave to those around her. Her family continues to advocate for those affected by domestic violence, ensuring that Lisa's story will never be forgotten. Her children, who are now growing up without their mother, find strength in the memories of her love and resilience. Her story has become a symbol of the need to support those in toxic relationships and to never ignore the warning signs of abuse. The tragic death of Lisa Thompson was a horrific reminder of the brutality that can occur in abusive relationships. Her murder left a lasting impact on her family, the community, and those who followed the case. Although no punishment could bring Lisa back, her story became a catalyst for change, highlighting the importance of speaking out against domestic violence and ensuring that her life and legacy would continue to inspire others. That is for our video about Lisa Thompson. Like and subscribe and comment below about today's video, and I will see you on the next video.